Every day I'm trying to improve myself, trying to beat the system, can't lose myself. It's unfortunate you can't leave the gun on the shelf, can't even pump your gas without dodging shells.
Mental misery, I pray dodge themselves. The judges so empathy in hell excel. Think it's a game, nigga, like Frank Patel. Shotgun shelf like that fills your well.
Every day is new to me, never wake up to the news, it's foolery. Was always thought I had a good head on my shoulder, yes my head's big.
Welcome. This is Product of the 80's podcast. I'm one half of your host, Black V. That is Reggie, aka Godless Reggie. We got a special guest in the building, Sonia, who was very active out there in the world in her community. But I would be cheating y'all if I did most of the introduction of what she has going on, her experience, her life stories, or exactly what is she doing. So I'm gonna let Sonia introduce herself and tell you a little bit about who she is as we get this going. And before Sonia goes, I want to sit there and say, what up, Reggie?
What's going on?
And let's go. Sonia, tell us who you is.
So my name is Sonia, and I am a pagan eclectic witch from Defiance, Ohio. And I own a small metaphysical shop in our local mall. And we welcome all paths, all ways of life. We're very inclusive, and we are a safe place in our community. So I'm also the chair of our local Young Dems group that is just starting here in Defiance. And so we're trying to get out and make a change in what's going on in our politics. And we have to start locally before we can change anything on the federal level.
Agreed.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. So it's a lot going on in the world. And me and Sonia met through another party, and through that other party, we became Facebook friends. And then, I started peeping out a lot of her posts that she makes, and then vice versa, some of my posts, especially when I'm on there arguing with some of my goofy ass family members who are big time MAGA. I'm disrespectful as hell to them, and I love them, but I can love you and still not fuck with you when it comes to politics. So they get mad because I call them DEI MAGA members. But so with that being said, a lot is happening, and I hate to be that way because, and I hate, I don't want to be that person who was like, I told you so, you dumbass. I tried to tell you. I don't want to be that way because I know it takes a lot more than just us that do know, or that's that peak game to change or stop what's happening. So I'm trying to reserve, but I feel, and y'all can tell me it's wrong, and I'm about to end what I'm saying. I feel that some of these people, there's nothing that he can do right now that's going to change anything because they're dug in. They're emotionally and mentally committed.
Yeah, he can do no wrong in their eyes. No wrong. And I've been telling people, you don't have to admit you were wrong. You just need to admit you were lied to. Because then they can take that better. They can say, yeah, I was lied to. They're a little bit more accepting of the fact that it's not what they voted for.
Yeah.
So
Reggie, you guys, what'd you say, Reggie?
No, I ain't saying nothing. I was trying to get my Instagram going. But
Well,
I have
AJ,
seen.
we need to get her on here. We should have had her on here.
I tried to call her. She ain't answer. So look, I'm seeing a lot of people say that they were promised certain things, especially, and I'm not trying to pinpoint anyone like that, because shout out to everybody in America, shout out to the Hispanic community, but I am seeing a lot of Venezuelans that were promised things, and I just don't see how you fell for
it. Gotcha.
Especially a second time.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when he pinpointed you. He said your name. Right.
Yeah.
So before he even got elected, you should have knew he was going to do the shit.
Yeah. But he's a con man. We knew that.
He's one of the greatest con men. Listen, he is the king of con men. Like, I don't even argue with them no more. Where they're like, oh, he's so great. He's the greatest president ever. I'm like, he's the greatest liar, because I'm sure all presidents lie, have to, to whatever case. He's the greatest manipulator, All presidents got to manipulate, whatever case. He's the greatest. Just like I said this, but I didn't say this. They did this. I do the same thing, but I'm not them. It's how.
I don't get it either.
You got to remember, narcissistic people, manipulators, they are going to repeat those lies over and over again, right? Until they believe them, until their followers believe them. And they're just repeating the same stuff over and over. He's great. He's had a great, 2 months or 3 months in office. The economy's the best it's ever been. His approval rating is the highest of any president ever. But here's the thing, though, right? When they go to write the history books, the truth will be there.
Unless they edit it or take it out like they love to do.
But when we look back, you read history about, Nazi Germany, there's all that stuff's in there,
Propaganda.
and there's right. It's all in there. The truth is going to come out. The historians are going to write the truth. They're not going to cater to him specifically. I mean, he's 79, 78 years old. He's not going to live forever. He's not going to be able to hold that over, thank God. But he's not going to be able to hold that over people, do this or else. And they're going to write the truth about him. So it'll come out.
So NJ says, so you're saying that everyone that voted for him was a narcissist?
No. He's a narcissist. He's the manipulator. And that's why he constantly says, I'm the best. My numbers are great. I'm great. It's the best ever. Right. Because they constantly are going to say that over and over again, because then the people around them are going to parrot that. They're going to repeat that over and over again. And it's going to spread like a viral cancer.
Yes.
But a lot of stuff that you're saying, I just say it in a different way. I forget the name of that movie. They used to come on Bounce all the time. It was about basically a demon that would jump from body to body. Like when the person would die, it could jump to anything, right? And they would just keep singing this song. Time is on our side. And in this case, it's on our side. He's 79 years old. Father Time is the undisputed champion. Sometimes these fights go 15 rounds, maybe. And in his case, it's 15 rounds. You're going to lose. You're going to die. And personally, I think the world would be a better place.
Absolutely. I don't put a lot of stock in Simpson predictions, but April 12th, that's that's what they're saying. I'm banking on April 12th. So they're
fairly accurate.
Yeah. Well, they've got a pretty high. It's a pretty high percentage. Yeah. So
I want to say it's not funny anymore. There was a point it was funny, and I would laugh at some of the things that would happen. I think we've moved past the it's hilarious part to where like this is sad and disgusting. Yeah. And I want to preface the fact that anybody can go see if they see a lot of my posts. I'm not left or right, or better yet to say Democrat or Republican. Right. I like to consider myself a conservative liberal who leans left while I'm walking right.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, if it makes sense and it's better for the whole, then I rock with it. It's not about what's better for the small group. I rock with it, and I'm about certain sense. I don't have to like something to still understand the purpose of it, or still understand that it's about the rights of the other people who may like it. And is it hurting me that bad? Perfect example. I'm not for abortion, but do I want to run around and telling a woman what to do with her body?
Right.
No. You know what I'm saying? I cannot. Yeah, it's her decision. It's her body, her choice. And if I was quote unquote the spiritual person, then I got, or the great Christian I should be, or whatever case, then I would be like, yo, that's her between her and God. She's got to answer that for that. Whatever her and whoever else is involved in it got to. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Reggie.
But see, the thing about that is, though, when it comes to religion, especially if we're talking about Christianity, I'm only going off of the book by what I'm going to say. To some extent, the Bible condones abortion when it comes to women. If you suspect your wife, whether she did it or not, if you suspect her of cheating, I'm not going to get all the way into the verse, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Sonya.
Right.
So it's kind of a contradiction, you know?
What about the people that don't believe in the Bible, though? I mean, it shouldn't apply to them, right?
Exactly. And then, you know
Exactly.
how I feel? When it comes to that particular topic, I feel that there should be a vote, right? And the vote should only consist of people who it involves. Just like I can't vote for things that happen in Florida because I don't live in fucking Florida.
Right.
Same situation. If women want to have abortion, let them have it. If they don't, get rid of it.
Yeah. Why our government is made up of mostly old white men? Why are old white men who are not doctors, no type of medical training, allowed to make those decisions and rules and laws for a female?
Right. And it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know this, but do you know, like, I cannot go in and get a hysterectomy because I am still of childbearing age, and my doctor will not do it without my husband's approval in 2025 still.
Damn.
Isn't that, I mean, that's fucked up.
It is.
Like, why, just because I'm still a woman of childbearing age, that doesn't mean I want more kids. I shouldn't have to. That's my decision. But if my husband doesn't agree, the doctor won't do it.
NJ asked a dope question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to her, a lot of times it's like piggybacking off of what Sonya said. In not every situation, but in some cases, it's because there's stipulations or things like certain laws or rules that say that she needs her husband's permission to do certain things. And yeah, it's a big mess. And I'm agreeing with both of you on it. I have no pushback to this whatsoever. Excuse me, I'm like trying to burp at the same time thing, but I'm all for protecting rights. I'm not a huge gun person, but I'm for protecting people's right to bear arms. I'm about freedom of speech. I think there's a fine line between trying to take away someone's speech and then fact checking them when they're up to just spewing stupid ass lies. As long as I keep your post you made up there and I just tag it with the links for those who want to know to fact check it, I don't feel that that's taken away from your free speech at all. You got to say what you want to say, and because of what you said, here is the facts of it to be. And so when I see people get upset about being fact checked on something because they don't have proof, and a lot of people, and both sides do it, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I've caught more people on the right being big time repeaters and never actually doing the research themselves as to what they're regurgitating and putting back out into society. They hear rumors or they hear conspiracies, and they're just quick to be like, yo, this is this. And they just say sometimes just some of the most ignorant, heinous shit that you like, yo, common sense says, go look it up. Don't get me wrong. I watched it on the other side too. Perfect example was that when Kamala was running for president the first time, and I watched a lot of people on the left argue about why they weren't going to vote for her. And a lot of black people was like, because she was locking niggas up for smoking weed in California and all this other stuff and everything else. And I'm like, yo, did y'all actually go research? And she'll get credit for people that she had nothing to do with trying them, didn't have nothing to do with their cases, but because she was the attorney general for the whole state, it falls under her. I'm like, yo, y'all got to be better. So when I watch these same people do all that BS because they only regurgitated what they heard, and it was talking points that the right pushed along with her opposition on the left when they were having that go around, I was like, yo, now these same people run around like, oh, Kamala, we love you. Come in. I'm like, man, y'all full of shit.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do you think that Barry Bonds gave a fuck what color the damn pitcher was? You think he's swinging? He's swinging home run. Her job, even if what they said was true, right? Now let's think about let's think about the jurisdiction we're talking about. Oakland, right? The fucking blackest city in fucking California, right? So if her job is to prosecute people, do you think that she's gonna sit there and look at the goddamn paper like, you know what? He probably didn't do it. That's my brother. He's from the hood. I know him. I know his mom. Let's let him go. She don't give a fuck who you is. Her job is to prosecute people. Man, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
I'm like, I don't know that motherfucker. I'm not standing up for his character. Hell,
fuck, he black, white, Hispanic. I don't give a fuck. My job is to win. If I'm not good at winning, if I'm not good at convicting people, no matter who the fuck they are, I'm not doing my job well.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck.
Yep. That's how she got her.
It's Sonya it's all common sense, or it should be common sense. But common sense is the biggest lie ever because it's not common.
No, misinformation is one of the biggest downfalls of our society. You know, we have access to so much information at the tips of our fingers that people they're too lazy to look it up. They're too lazy to look up the bill. You know, they talk about these bills in houses and Congress and legislature. All of this, there's databases for all of that. All you got to do is just type it in, pull it up, read it. But they don't want to. They want to share something that's a partial truth or a half truth or twisted instead of taking 5 minutes out and just looking at it. You know, and Jamar, a lot of people are like you. You know, they have these views and they have these views and they're here and they're here. And that's why the two-party system for us does not work anymore.
It doesn't work.
It does not work. You know, I'm not saying we need to do away with it right out the gate and you know and not have a plan, but it just does not work the way it's set up anymore.
No,
you know, you go and vote and you get, you know, 1 and 2 and you have to pick the lesser of two evils. It doesn't work anymore. You know, we need a better system.
Yes.
I have to take Jamar's take on that. I've stole something from you. I don't know if you noticed it, but I didn't hijack you for something. That is nothing but the blood and crip mentality. Literally, one's blue, one's red. We don't give a fuck what you do. If you are part of this blue organization, we got your back, and vice versa.
Right.
And that's fucked up.
Yeah. Because you can't be, you know, no matter what, I'm going to follow them no matter what. Because if that doesn't align with who you are as a person, your morals, your beliefs, your values, then you should not be backing someone that you don't align with.
That's true. But you know how you could hypnotize a person, right?
No.
Trump did it with that fucking book. With that book. Oh, it's the Christian thing to do. He's just a Christian man. He's a Christian. No, the fuck he's not. He's a goddamn
I am more
thief.
Christian than he is. I am more Christian than Trump is.
That man is not. That man is not.
That motherfucker was out here hustling. He was out here selling Bibles and shit.
Yeah, and autographing them. Like,
so I had to let me ask y'all something because both of y'all stands when it comes to religion, right? When I was sitting there thinking, I used to get into it with people when the first time he ran, and they were like, "Oh, he's a godsend, right?" And I was thinking about all these. Wait, because it makes sense now when I think about it, what they were saying, even if they didn't realize it. And then I was thinking about it, and the first ignorant thought process is to think like, if it's God, it's only good things. If it's God, it's only good things, right? And then I was like, wait a minute. If you keep praying for something, God gives you what you ask for, or whatever case, and in your mind, you only look at it as good and evil, right? In our humble human mind state, we only break things down. And religious people get pissed off at me all the time, but I'll be like, yo, you know who has been like the employee of the month for almost damn near eternity is the devil. If we go according to our religious thing, this motherfucker is doing his job and doing his fucking job well. The devil doesn't get to determine whether you go to, if we're just basing it off the good book, right? The devil don't get to determine where you go. It's still up to God to judge you. The devil don't get to make that decision. He just clock in like the rest of them. He just like on the board and get to sit and have a seat at the table of like, yo, I got another one. And God like, my dog, you keep on, your numbers are looking great, Lucifer. Your numbers, bro.
You know what I used to look at it as?
You think they're working together? Like tag teaming?
Because
look, Sonya, look, listen. It would be like a jail warden type situation. Is the jail warden a criminal? Or is he the right-hand man of the governor?
I mean,
yeah. But literally, he be doing some underhand shit and letting shit slide. We know all that. But he's not looked upon as the bad guy.
Bad guy.
Right? So how is the person who's holding you in hell the bad guy?
Because his job is his job is to get you, like, to keep his numbers good. So
but here's what I don't get. So Satan was cast down, right, to hell, right? How is he going to also take people to be punished just like him?
Them his dudes, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in Satan. I don't.
Right.
The only people that do are Christians.
And Muslims.
And okay, see, not super familiar with the Muslim religion, so now, but they don't call him devil, right? Or
Satan or Shaitan.
Satan. Okay. So to me, that's not like a relevant issue for me, because if I have to have the promise of a heavenly home or the threat of eternal damnation to be a good person, then were you a good person to ever begin with? I mean, that's my take on it. Like,
this is my take. Let's say, for instance, if heaven and hell are real, right? Let's say, and I die tonight. Please, God, please take me straight to hell. You know why? That's where all the promiscuous women are at. All the prostitutes down there, all the baby moms, all the scallywags is down there. All the strippers is down there. Listen, if you really my friend and I die, put 10 ones in my pocket, because as soon as I get down there, I am Trick Daddy Dollars. Why would I logically want to go to heaven with 144,000 virgin men? Get the fuck out of here! And this isn't a place who is being run by a man who likes to collect foreskins. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! I live in the Northeast. That's a dick sweater. It's cold. Fuck you. I'm not going up there. Send me with the hose.
See, and I would say I don't want to go to heaven either, because I don't want to be with the people that claim to be going to heaven. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those type of people, the hateful people. Those are usually the ones that are saying, "Oh, you're going to hell." You know?
Right. Okay. So then answer me this, because I love that both of you are educated in the word, and I'm people call me an asshole because, like, I've read it, and then I'll be like, "Yo, like, this makes sense," but this is gonna make sense in ways that y'all not gonna like. And those who actually sit there, truly have read it and understand it, and aren't sycophants or just fans of it, or aren't narcissists and only trying to save their souls, just they're only going because they don't want to end up, quote unquote, in hell, right? So when I watch it, and I'll be like, or I was a couple friends of mine, again, other people, and I love fucking with them. So I was like, when everything good happens, y'all say praise God, but when the bad stuff happens, y'all don't give no credit to God. And I was like, I said, so could it be? I said, I'm gonna say confident. Could it be that that's just still all God? There was a plan.
The Lord God created good and evil.
Yep. And so us, and our fickle understanding, or fecal, or whatever the word I want to use is the correct word, but I heard it. But for our small understanding, we only can place things to understand things within good and evil, compared to just the necessary thing that is supposed to happen, that is a part of the plan. So if I was a God, I wouldn't give a fuck about what y'all felt like was good or evil. If it is my will, or it is my way, or if I am a jealous God, or whatever case, then none of that matters what you call good or evil. It is the necessary things that need to happen in order for my plan to succeed. Again, like I said, the devil is just an employee. The devil exists because God continues to allow the devil to exist. If the devil exists, right?
Let me teach you something, Jamar. The first thing that you need to do, and when you talk about Abrahamic religion, you have to study Judaism. I'm going to teach you something right now. Jewish people do not believe in the devil. They do not believe in hell whatsoever. That is a Christian concept.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
so when you start understanding Judaism, right? Israel means I wrestle with God. They don't look at God as all good. And first of all, most Jewish people are atheists, truthfully. They're ethnically Jewish, which means they're blood Jewish. They don't really believe the shit. None of them believe in the Moshe, which is Moses. They know Moses never existed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that when you before you get to Christianity, right? So
Right.
where did the concept of hell, where did the concept of the devil, where did the concept of Jesus and all that come from? That comes from Christianity.
Right.
That's
So
not
I,
Judaism.
yeah, so
Yep.
I'm agreeing
It's
with you.
not.
No pushback whatsoever. I'm agreeing with you. But I go into those conversations already understanding and knowing that. But it's kind of like, let me speak to you. It's kind of like, I don't want to say dumbing myself down, but let me speak to you in a level that which you can understand, even though they still can't understand it because now they're so caught up in his faith that they don't want to hear, because they were trained or conditioned to not hear it.
Because they don't know no better. I didn't used to know no better either. I used to believe the shit too until I just told you what I told you. Once I realized, I learned that, I'm like, for real.
It was man. Man created the devil. Man created hell to keep people in line. That was how they maintained control of the masses, because they could threaten them.
Fear.
You know, you do that, you're going to go to hell, and this is what happens in hell. It scares them.
Most people know the Bible's history, but most people don't know the history of the Bible.
Right.
Yeah, and learning the history of the Bible, and the sad part about it is, even within it or around it, there's the stories are there to point out how fucked up, how corrupt, how manipulated it all is, but people still choose to ignore it. I'm like, yo, like, fuck it, just go check out the story of Martin Luther, the original Martin Luther.
Right.
Like, you go hear that, I'm like, wait, what? And they did what?
This is the thing you have to realize too, right? This is only for them, right? If either religion, Judaism or Christianity, it's telling you that it's only for them. So I don't see how people can just read that and be like, that's me too. No, what the fuck, it's not? No, it's not. If you're not Middle Eastern, if you're not, matter of fact, if you ain't Palestinian, maybe Iranian, something like that, Saudi Arabian, maybe they're not talking to you.
Yeah, Egyptian. Yeah.
Egyptian, maybe. Other than that, it's not pertaining. Greek, maybe.
Yeah. That whole Middle Eastern.
Turkish, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm stretching it as far as it can go. Syrian, maybe.
Yeah. But Jamar, I want to go back when you were talking about good and evil, because, you know, people, like you said, they pray and, you know, and that's the hand of God, right? Miracles and shit like that when their prayers get answered. And if the prayers don't get answered, then, you know, that just wasn't God's will. But how can God pick and choose? How can he answer your prayer but not your prayer?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How does that fall into our good, you know, our will, our free will?
Because that's us. Because that's, when I say us, I mean us as human beings, wanting to interpret it to what we wanted to interpret to make sense for us.
For you, yeah.
Going on. Yes. And so again, it goes to, listen, I tell people all the time as I steer it back, this all still revolves around this politics are a symptom of this very way of thinking of stuff, right? So what I like to say, that is the narcissist within us as people, right? It is for us wanting something and feeling like we should have it, or justifying something we are doing or something we really want to do, and trying to find any means to justify, support the BS, bullshit, or selfish behavior that we have. And so understanding me, I think I was on Reggie's show when he was doing like one of his first, maybe second episode or whatever case. And I was on there and I was like, yo, y'all getting so pissed off and everything else. I said, all this stuff that you're arguing about and fussing about is just a reflection of the politics or the social behavior going on at that time. So when Reggie was talking about it was with the Muslims and how I think it was how racist or something like that they was, or something. I forgot what you remember, Reggie? It was something. It was something about when you pointing out one of the prophets was real thing or something like
Muhammad.
that. Real racist,
Muhammad, what he said is something about a raisin head Ethiopian. I could pull up the exact
Right.
exact verbiage, but yeah.
And I was like, yo, I said, go back to the social behaviors of that environment, of that time. And it always tracks. It's no different than when they started using the Bible during slavery time. It's no different when they start like, and all these things when they use Christianity. Fuck, it's so crazy. Go back to the way that Hitler himself manipulated the word of God to his benefit. It is these are humans taking this word, the word of other humans who call this the word of God, and manipulating it to serve their purpose. Just pay attention to the social construct in those environments. You will get all you need to know.
Yeah. I mean, you go back to the Holy Wars. You know, they used the Bible to justify killing millions of people because they wouldn't convert. You know, they justified killing pagans and the Celts and all of these other religions and people. It was like a genocide. They justified it using the Bible.
Mm-hmm. This is the bullshit we got going on today. They're trying to justify that. Listen, Trump, I swear to you on everything I love, when I seen it, and I seen it the first time he got elected, I told my brother, and I keep bringing this back up because like my brother is smart, but my brother sometimes we clash on certain stuff, and then later on, a lot more often than not, I get, yeah, you're right. I told him the first time around when I read the whole thing on Hitler and the rise of the Nazi Party, and then I watched what was happening, watch what was happening with MAGA. I was like, this reminds me of when the Nazis took over Germany. When it first came about, no one took them serious. And then the movement grew, and the movement grew. And what they did was they took the truthful gripes of the people in Germany at that time, and they manipulated them, and then they took it and they preyed upon those weaknesses or those trials and tribulations they were going through, and they used it to benefit them to gain more power. People keep forgetting Hitler was Time Magazine Man of the Year at some point in time.
Yeah.
This is not by this mistake. This is by design. And people will tell you at the time he got Time Magazine Man of the Year is because everybody was like, yo, like he's keeping his word. He is helping the German people. He is taking back. And he did. And just like certain people, like but it was nobody paid attention to who he was hurting in the process to do it.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah, and it started out with little things. Things. And then before you knew it, they were killing hundreds and thousands of people, and no one could stop them.
No one can stop it.
But wait a minute, they had that practice in Africa first too. I forget the name of the country. I could look it up real quick, but they did the same fucking thing to them, and I think it was like 19.
Algeria? Was it Algeria?
Give me 1 second. Well,
might be Algeria. Ford heavily invested in the Nazi regime, and they profited, I should say, heavily profited off of the Nazi regime, Namibia. And so, like, history tells us the things we need to know and I say this saying all the time, and I said it one time as a rap bar and didn't understand how much it really meant in life. I was just ignorant. And I thought it was dope to say, but I like, if you sit and pay attention, you can buy yourself some wisdom, right? And I just didn't realize it too. It was like, yo, like, I swear, like, if you just sit back and watch, and the biggest emotional intelligence means so much more to me now than it ever could mean to me ever any other point in my life. I mean, it would have helped me stop making more dumb mistakes earlier in life, but become more emotionally intelligent of understanding, like, yeah, my emotions would have made me side with this. My emotions would have made me react like this. My emotions would have made me go ahead and fall into the trap. And they prey upon. And that's what they use to help solidify or at least make the points that they want to make to keep people back, to keep Democrats in place, or to keep Black Americans in place. They prey upon your emotional triggers.
Right.
And they use those. Like, they just tried it. People became more smarter. They just tried it with spreading to see how people will react to the idea of pardoning Derek Chauvin. Because to them, they was like, yo, if they react how we want them to react, we can utilize this to our advantage to be able to access to do more of this or take away more rights, because there'll be riots all over the place and then we'll seize more control.
Yeah. And that's how they control, right?
Yeah.
That's how they control the population, because the people in charge make up a very small percentage.
Yes.
The rest of us outnumber them greatly. And so they divide us and they try to pit neighbor against neighbor, right? To keep us divided so we don't band together and do what we should do. So, yeah. Yeah. You have to, I get so worked up, I can feel my blood pressure going up. Sorry.
It did that to me. I used to be like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how can y'all be so stupid? But
well, yeah, but now it's not even that. Like, I'm past that point. I'm past the point of we have to continue speaking out. We have to continue putting this stuff in front of people. I mean, as Americans are very selfish, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's not in front of them, on their phone, on the TV, whatever, because people are on social media all the time. If it's not in front of them, they forget about it. You know, I mean, the war in Ukraine's been going on how long? 2 years? 3 years now? You know, and we don't see it in the news anymore. We see clips every once in a while. You know, you might get an update here and there.
People were still fighting, still losing their lives, still out there going through it. But because it didn't serve the purpose that people
it didn't affect us. It didn't affect me. It didn't affect them. You know, what we're going through right now in our own government, in our own democracy, we have to keep talking about it. We have to keep screaming about it. We have to keep protesting, because if we don't, it's going to overtake all of us, and then we're not going to be able to do anything about it.
We've normalized, and that's where Trump and them excelled. And I don't think it was by purpose. It was just by they kept sitting back and watching what happened, and they was like, "Yo, these people forget about it the next news cycle, or they move on and jump. They're so worried about what happens next in the news cycle. As long as we keep, and it doesn't have to be as bad as the previous one, but as long as we create the next headache, the next conversation, the next talking point, because the attention span is so distraction. I mean, it's like the average American now has ADHD.
Look over here,
For lack of a better term, no disrespect to anybody who has ADHD, but the average American now has ADHD. We just like this, and we're like, oh, look what he did here, and then we to move past this. Like we're gonna be, we will be past. He will do something else. His people will do something else, stupid as hell, crazy as hell, and we won't pay attention to Pete Hegseth and the blunder that they had. We'll be on to the next one. And the sad part about it is like I have to remind myself to go back and remember to make sure we talk about the other things that they've done, or keep bringing them back up, because
and how many things are we going to let them slide by with? How many things are we going to let them fuck up?
I don't
know what I mean? Because if he was an employee at a job, if he worked at my store, he would have been fired a long time ago. You know, I mean, how many chances are we going to give someone that keeps fucking up?
So NJ said ADHD. I knew it was coming, but ADHD is still listening to you right now. We can be taught. So it's when I say that so that does perfectly play off of what I'm saying about the average American person now, is that they still can be taught, but the system is designed to keep it moving with more. I don't even want to say information. It's information, but it's not really digestible. More junk food. Nothing of nourishment to us, or even when it's nourishment, we can't even discern what's nourishment.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. So we're here, and then something else radical or crazy as hell happened, and then we're like, "Yo, did you see this?" And then we gravitate towards that, and then
is this really happening? Did that really happen? That couldn't have happened. There's no way.
When something else keeps happening, it's like I'm gonna keep you so all over the place, you can't settle in. The reason he didn't get elected again is because COVID happened to us, to where it was so long stuck with it. We didn't get a chance for it to the next news cycle or the next whatever case. And they tried many things, but it didn't get a chance because COVID was not just, yo, I heard it's happening in Texas, but it's not really happening here, but we see it on the news. No, it was happening around us. We were all losing people. We were all experiencing it in some shape, form, or fashion. Personally, I went through it. I did, and I'm not gonna lie. Like I was when COVID first happening, I didn't think of it as BS. I was like, okay, I took it serious. I was more against them pushing through the so rapidly the vaccine, right? And so, like, you go back and I looked over history and I looked at how many times the United States government pushed through because COVID's not the first vaccine thing that they pushed through in American history. If you go back and look, especially like with polio, oh my God, there was twice, I believe, if I read my history right, that they forced and pushed through vaccines that end up doing more harm than they were good for. So that was my concern. I always believed COVID was real. I got COVID. I ended up being in the hospital for a week and a half on oxygen. It was the most sickest I had ever been in my life. I felt the weakest. I needed help to get up from the hospital bed with my oxygen machine to go to the bathroom just to pee. I could barely breathe. I'm coughing, feel like I'm about to lose a lung. So COVID was real. And I still felt, but I was so at fear, and my wife was like, you need to get the vaccine now, that you, whatever case. And I still feel away, but I'm not going to tell other people like, don't. I just would tell the people who didn't believe in COVID, I don't give a fuck if you take the vaccine or not. Stop being ignorant to stop thinking COVID isn't real. Yeah. Stop thinking that it's just some place, some BS that's caused hysteria, whatever. That was my whole take on it.
Yeah, I agree. COVID's real. I had it twice. And I was not as bad as you, but yeah, it was weeks before I could walk without being winded, just exhausted, couldn't do anything, just weak. But I did not get the vaccine, because of the same thing. 12 months to push through a vaccine that hasn't really had time to be tested.
And then all the people anti-vax voted for the dude who pushed it through.
Yeah.
So doctors don't have it.
Yeah, so I haven't had the vaccine, but not saying, you know what, I know people that have, and they haven't had any
so far
adverse effects.
I haven't. Worst time of my life. I took the vaccine. I did take the vaccine. My wife was like, please go, whatever case. And from being in the hospital and her having to come in there to give me, it was dope though, give me baths, but I couldn't enjoy it because I could barely stand up and fucking breathe. But she giving me sponge baths. I'm in the fucking life was hard. Like I couldn't take but so many steps before I'm sweating in like whatever. And the best back then, the best description I gave to people was like, it's not necessarily COVID is what kills you. I always said, look at COVID. The best way I can describe it in layman, ignorant terms is look at COVID like HIV. HIV doesn't kill you.
Right.
HIV weakens you so that a common cold or you get pneumonia or getting other different things or you have a high blood pressure or other things are now, you are so weak that those things can now overtake your body, your systems because they're so weak and kill you. Right. And that's how I looked at COVID. And that's how I felt COVID. I'm diabetic. My sugar and everything else is under control. I got COVID. My shit shot through the roof.
Yeah, because your body couldn't control it anymore. Oh, you're lucky. Yeah, but how many people died during COVID because of our poor administration, right? Drink bleach. A really strong light. A really strong light will kill it. I don't know that's. Yeah, I'm not sure who told him that, but seeing all these people, these elderly people listening to him.
Have you ever heard somebody defend that? Say that's not what he meant?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I think people know that they come back with that. I will. Yeah. No, I tear them apart because that's just stupid. I mean, we are in 2025. We have some of the best medical research out there right now. Like, who can say light is going to kill bacteria and a virus? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm talking about the bleach part. They be trying to say that's not what he meant.
If that's not what he meant, then why did he say it?
Exactly.
Like,
So maybe I can zoom in so y'all can see this better. So off of Instagram, as we're live right now, Visually Nice was like, do you guys think it's weird how many kids have autism? I'm a 94 baby and I can't name one person with autism. I grew up with, let me back up some, just a little bit. I grew up with, what do you guys think of autism being so relevant in today's society?
I think it
okay,
always has been.
I think it always has been. It just was not diagnosed. They didn't know. There wasn't enough study about it. They didn't know how to diagnose it. They didn't know that it was something that was as prevalent as it is.
Right.
Okay, so can I piggyback off of what Visually Nice said and agree with Visually Nice and agree with Sonya and you also? I think that we left so many undiagnosed cases of autism back then. And also at the same time, I know for a fact the way our food and the way the things that we have around us affects us, that it has made it autism more relevant. A perfect example is that there's cases of it, and you can look if people pay attention and they go look in their family, they can see where that gene is there because they got a cousin here or there that shows signs of it.
Right.
But I've also seen where men who are older who are diabetic, and they still have a kid, their child is more likely to come out with ADHD or being bipolar and some other different things like that. And women who are on certain medications who have children and their children come out with certain forms of autism. And so it's like we're killing ourselves at both ends. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, genetically predisposed. You know what I mean?
Predisposed.
Genetically, yes. To have those, I mean, if it's a gene, if it's in your DNA, you're going to pass it on. It's not always going to show up in every single line. I mean, it's just like anything else, right?
Mhm.
Just like eye color, shape of your nose, shape of your chin, how tall you are, right? Those are things that are going to come up with down the line in your genetics. It's just how it is. I mean, it's no different than, here back far family at my side. I had family that was schizophrenic. We knew that, uncle whatever, had this and he was hospitalized because of it, and no, those are genetic predispositions that we have. We know we have mental health issues in our family because of that. That was kind of one of those things, but nobody talked about it,
Agreed.
But now it's not like a taboo anymore. Mental health is so super important just in society, just for regular everyday functioning of people, that we have to talk about it.
Right.
We need mental health is so important, and what I love about this conversation, we got to get you on more on this podcast.
I have a lot of opinions. So.
Yeah, me and Reggie talk about so much of what's going on, and it's weird. We don't have as many debates as we have constantly going down a rabbit hole with these conversations. It's very few, and sometimes what we're debating about is the accuracy about the inaccuracy of what the bullshit they're trying to prescribe upon us, right? Which this is why I love Reggie as my thing, because we have to agree on everything, is what because we know and understand discernment, and we can always circumvent about, okay, let's get to the root of what's going on. It's kind of like you're like, okay, what's going on? Let me understand it. Let me read it. Let me research it. Let me understand it. Because the last thing I want to do is come out there and be like, in my feelings and say something or argue against something just for the fact of my emotional feelings. I hate that because I don't want to be, how about this? I'm a sore fucking loser. I hate to be wrong. So to stop myself from being wrong, I like to go research something before I argue back. When people post shit, I'm like, yo, wait, because it's so easy to be caught up emotionally, especially on social media. You just run and just want to respond. Let me go research. Let me go check. Let me go jump on it. I seen my cousin. He was like calling Jasmine Crockett a hoe and a DEI hire. And I was like, yo, like, where are you getting this from? So I said, the first thing I did before I responded, let me go research her background myself. And I went and looked it up and I was like, how is she DEI when she went here for law school? She put herself through this. She started her own law firm and she got voted in. She can't be DEI congresswoman. Well, she's a congresswoman, right? But she's not a senator, she's a congresswoman. Yeah, I said she can't be DEI there because she got voted in, right?
Right.
Okay. She can't be DEI higher as far within law because she went and took and started her own law firm. So how should she DEI herself? No. Then you go look at her educational background in the school she attended, and you was like, yo, like, this is dope. I can acknowledge all those things and turn around and say, no, this woman is not DEI. I'm not the biggest fan of her.
We can talk about a DEI hire of Pete Hegseth.
Pete Hegseth, you seen it, I seen it, and that's why that is why Pete Hegseth is and I'm sorry, and people might get offended by it, but Pete Hegseth is the white guy who thinks it's supposed to be fucking given to him, who has lost out opportunity to minority, and the only thing he can use to justify why he thinks he lost it is because of DEI culture is why he didn't get that promotion or that job. And it had nothing to do with that.
He didn't get that promotion because he wasn't qualified. I mean, you can tell he is not qualified to do anything.
Right.
I mean, but he has an argument now because there's a lot of people that have been appointed jobs that are not qualified. You know, like people that work for wrestling and shit like that. So,
but don't get me wrong.
His whole cabinet
promotions happens everywhere. Like a union isn't created, and I use this for unions because they're attacking unions now. A union isn't created to help the horrible workers keep a job. It's there mainly to protect those who work their ass off and go about the job the right way to protect them. What happened is that unfortunately, those who suck get to fly through the cracks. But what also has happened and gets exposed, and I had to argue with this with a coworker that I work with, is that a lot of times, if a person who was violating rules and laws, whatever case, and union helps them keep some job, that means management somewhere along the way short-stepped or misused their power or didn't do what they was to fucking do in the process to get this motherfucker out the paint. It goes both ways. So the union has to be like, yo, I can't ride for him and not ride for him because he pays his union dues too. If you do your job, and a lot of times the union won't even fight hard to help that motherfucker keep their job. But if you do your job, it's easy fucking pickings. But because y'all suck or y'all cheated because y'all was so anxious to get this motherfucker out the door, you misstep. And now we have to give this man back his job.
Yeah. I mean, most jobs, especially union jobs, have a probationary period for that reason.
Yes.
If they are not getting rid of the bad apples, then that's their own damn fault.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
I worked in corrections. And the first thing you do when you come in corrections is the union comes up to you and say, hey, we can't save you, but you're still about to pay these union dues for the first year. That's what they tell you, right? So going through that, and it was like, you work and you're like going through it and like they can't help you, but they help you with advice a little by little.
Extortion.
Yeah, it is. So you experience that, but I've also experienced from being within a union, and when you feel like your union is strong. Today unions only exist on paper if we've been taking money out of your contract because they have weakened them so much it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying to y'all is that I work in a different place and there's supposed to be a union, but the union is weakened and they allow management to do what they want to do, violate rules, bend things over, or be excessive. And it's not the same thing, but that's because we've become in society, and this goes beyond just union. We become comfortable, right?
Yeah,
complacent. And because we have become complacent in society, especially in American culture, that we forgot why the Republican Party lost the people in the first place, right? The common people in the first place. We forgot that. We forgot that the reason we have unions is because of the Republican Party and their unfair labor practices. The fact of this, on paper, I swear to you, like a motherfucker, and I can see why most black people used to be Republican. On paper, the Republican Party seems like the bright idea, the best thing to go through. If people actually were of their word and fair and honest and trustworthy, but they're not. They're fucking human beings. So they're going to rip you off. They're going to overwork you. They're going to underpay you. They're going to try to sit again in Florida right now. They're trying to pass child labor laws so they can sit there.
14.
So you can be in school, and even though you got school in the morning, you can still go work a job that lets you work third shift. That's what they're trying to allow in Florida.
14-year-olds, as young as 14.
Because you want to know why? Because I think it was by design. I don't think they fucked up. I think this is all by design. When they tried to run the migrants out, they knew they needed replacements. So their thing is, we need to get the poor Americans to sit there, get up off their lazy asses, and we'll find one way or another to force them into these jobs so that they can survive.
It's not gonna work.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's free, not free. It's cheap, young labor, right? Because what 14-year-old is going to know the laws, first of all, to defend himself and say, that's against the law. I'm not allowed to do that. They're not.
So
they're going to do what their boss. Yeah.
So they're getting rid of the law. They're just like, fuck it.
It's because these companies, they don't want to pay minimum wage, right? I mean, that was a fight. So now they're like, well, let's lower the age and then we can change it then.
Because you don't have to pay them minimum wage if they're under the age of thing. You can pay them. It's a different level for the minimum.
Right.
It's just crazy. It's just understand, man. I swear to goodness, it's like I freaking hate it. It's like waking up and realizing you was in the Matrix, and then I'm like, oh, it's almost like feeling like old boy off the Matrix. I swear, the Matrix is one of the greatest things ever written from the book standpoint before it went into the movie or whatever. Because I believe he wrote it as she wrote it because a woman wrote it. It's one of the greatest things because if you look at it, it's like life is like that where you wake up again, going back to the woke term before they stole it and made it before they stole it. So now you can't even use it because it's just an attack word because people.
Yeah, but it's not an insult.
That's
not the thing. It's not an insult. It's just because I have empathy and I care about other people. That's not an insult.
I don't know. I so becoming woke or aware and understanding what's going on in the games that they play is now a bad thing. Like now, because being woke is a horrible thing. You watch them say it.
That's not what it means.
Huh?
That's not even what it means, though.
What? Woke?
What they're trying to talk about, the woke ideology.
Oh yeah. It's not, but it doesn't matter because the average person lacks common sense. Because
that depends on who they are. That depends. Like even some people that don't have common sense, because that's just a regular slang term that we've been saying for years, that our parents been saying for a long time.
So what I had to learn also was this, Reggie.
You know what I mean?
And you my dog, and we have dope conversations. But here's the thing, and I know you know it, so I'm not putting you on to nothing. Sonya should understand it too. We should all three understand it. This conversation we're having right now is not normal. It's not common. This level of awareness or wanting to understand better is not a normalcy in our society, in any culture, in Black culture, in white culture, in Hispanic culture. It's not, especially in America. So everything you're saying is factual. It's just that we also don't need to take for granted. We need to understand and not take for granted whatever the hell they want to call us, woke or whatever bullshit thing they want to put on us, is that we have become heightened and aware and taking a step back to try to see what's happening for what it is.
But wait a minute.
And that's not a normal conversation. That's happening.
But wait a minute though. You can't listen. I don't even accept that label. You can't put a label on me when it's a word that we invented that you're not fucking using properly. You're not using the term properly. So it doesn't matter if you label me woke, because that's not what it means, and you know that. It
Right,
just
right.
means be aware and look around and just make
I
sure
know
that you're
that.
not fucking sleeping.
Reggie, I know that.
Mhm.
You know that. All three of us in here, we all three know it. That's what the point I'm making is, that we all know that, right? But the average person, sad enough to say it, but the majority, because they allow the popular opinion, the popular phrase, or the popular take on something to dictate. So you got more black people now, or more other, even white people and black people now shy away from the word woke, because now
Yeah,
it's a
it's
trigger
played
word.
out, right?
It,
It's
yeah,
played out.
yeah. It just
Because
they've attached such that negative connotation to it
now,
that it's
yeah.
you don't want to, you don't want to be shown in that light.
Mhm.
It's like,
Or you don't want to be picked apart and have to argue the fact that you use
Right.
I'm woke, and you're now spending more time arguing about the point you were making.
right,
I
Right.
mean, not arguing about the point you were making, but arguing about the term of woke than you are the point that you were making, is what I should be saying. And
It's not
so
even political, really.
it's not. None of this is political. Human rights, basic living human rights, is not political. But we allow them to hijack those
Yeah.
things and make it political.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we did. We've allowed them,
Yeah.
as we the people. I promise you, Trump is not the problem with America. Trump is a symptom of what's wrong with this country.
Yeah.
He is
It's
not
a sign. It's a sign of the morality in this
Yes.
country.
Trump is the stroke. Trump is the stroke, showing the stroke as to what is wrong with America and why America is greedy. It is fat. It is lazy. It is conceited. It is overbearing. It is
Egotistical.
egotistical. All these different things that is wrong with America. And as an American, I know it. I'm willing to sit there and tell you that I understand that in this country, like, there's a lot of fucked up shit that had to happen around the world, and things we do for us to enjoy the liberties, the prices on resources that we do have and whatnot to get them. I understand it. If you notice and pay attention, I swear on this in my life, and some of y'all might feel different. I swear Obama came and ran with the genuine thing in the beginning to want to make a change, to truly believing he can make a change. I feel when he got briefed and told, like, this is what's going on, and the only reason we can do this is because, yeah, we're fucking over, we hijacked, we killed, we misplaced, we stole from, we're holding hostage, or we're fucking up all these other things in the world so we can enjoy these things.
Right.
And if you notice, every single freaking president, Republican or Democrat, the minute they get elected and they go into that security briefing, it's a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, they all gray like a motherfucker. They all come out grayer than hell because they learn that there's shit going on. I promise you, like when Obama was getting blamed for a lot of bombings that was going on and stuff like that, I promise you, those are things in missions and everything that happened under Obama's watch. Those are things that was going on. He came into, and his generals came to and said, yo, we're already in the thick of it.
Yeah.
You can't choices you got to make.
Yeah.
And this is your options. And this is all we can do because you're stuck in it. And if you reverse course, this is the lives you will ruin. This is what will happen to America. This is this and stuff like that. And they're
The machine of America.
The machine of America. And they're forced to have to make decisions because sometimes to be pro-America, you got to fuck over and break a lot of eggs other places. And I understand that. I promise you, go talk to people who are grandparents or great-grandparents that are still alive in Hawaii. They fucking hate America. They do not. If you ask them about how they got took and what happened, how Hawaii became a state, and you ask them, and they'll be like, yo, it's fucked up. And America came to them basically like terrorists. And you know the sad part about it? It was capitalism.
Listen, that's the same story for every state in the union. Every state like that.
Bro,
think
I
about
swear,
it.
I
Look
hate
where you
history.
from. Look where you from. Listen. Think about where you're from. You are
Uh-huh.
from the Connecticut Western Reserve. Think about that first word, Connecticut. How fucking far is Connecticut from Ohio?
12
Oh.
hours.
So what did that tell you? Hey, what's the state after us?
Well, Pennsylvania next to us, right?
No, the
Yeah.
other way.
The
other way.
Indiana. Indiana.
The
Indiana.
land of the Indians. So they gave it to them too, right? And then took that shit right back.
Oh, I'm learning about that shit. Like, talk about Indian givers should not be offensive to Native Americans. It should be offensive to Native Americans because it was America giving shit to Indians and then turning around and snatching that shit right back.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still doing it today. And they disguise it under this is better for the American people when it really is just better for capitalism.
Charge rent.
Bro, I swear capitalism is the greatest gift and the biggest sin of humanity at the same time.
Money is the underlying reason for every single thing that happens. Okay? When you look at everything, you look at where the money is. That's where you're going to find out stuff. Look at money. I mean, that's, you know that. I mean, we live in America.
This is their proposition to you. Like, look, we're going to come over here. We're going to take this land from you, right? First of all, you're going to work on this land, right? We're going to take it from you, right? Then we're going to charge you to stay here, right? Because it's property of the United States. And you know what you get in return? Salvation.
Convert or else, right? Yeah.
And we're going to make these schools for you.
Yep.
We're going to grape all the girls, too. We're going to do that.
Yep. Not allowed to speak your language. Not allowed to grow your hair long. None of that. Not allowed
those are demons. Those are demons.
All right. Before we wrap this up, I posed a question on Facebook, right? And I want to pull it up because I want to read it to you directly real quick. But I caught a lot of flack, and it was mostly by Democrats. Again, like I said, if I'm gonna call you out, I'm gonna call you out. If I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna call it at least how I see it. But what I basically said was, Democrats, they mean well, and I think Sonya seen it. I believe Sonya, you've seen it because I think you liked or commented on it. They mean well, but they don't do well.
Right.
And what I meant by when I posted that was that and the sad part about it is the same thing can be used against the Republican Party. And I will post that as that because it can be used against the Republican Party. Is that and Sonya said it best when she replied it. They need a backbone. A lot of things that took place and why Trump got the power that he had, like you'd be ignorant to not think that the Democratic Party did not help aid and abet in it happening because of their own selfish ways. Because also within this process, the Democratic Party forcefully kept giving us candidates that we didn't ask for. They did it with Hillary, and they hijacked the DNC, and then they turned around, and Biden was in last place for most of the time when he was first running for president. Like, he was an afterthought. Nobody was thinking. They were busy worried about Kamala. They were busy worried about freaking Bernie. They were talking about Pete Buttigieg, Andrew Yang, and Kamala. Those names were all in front of him. When the DNC came through and was like, yo, fuck all that. And I know what the people was sitting there putting interest in, whatever case behind. Joe Biden is the only one we know that can beat Trump because he's conservative enough, but he's this. And then they forcefully gave us. We didn't vote for. It's amazing how he was in last place through the entire whole Democratic, whatever case, they run their little primary thing to see who's going to be the candidate. He was in last place, an afterthought. Go back and watch it. The headlines and everything else and the numbers show you he was a fucking afterthought. And then when it came to like the last month and a half, 2 months, he surged ahead.
Smoking Joe.
And we accepted it because we just so badly wanted Trump out of there. But what happened was this time around became the same effect that we had with Hillary. Hillary lost because she came in and a lot of Democrats was like, I'm not voting. Trump shouldn't win. I'm not voting, but I don't want her.
Cause she a girl.
Yeah, no. Some of it, yes. So I'm not gonna tell you no. Some of it, yes. But other part of it is she didn't help herself either. She came in like it was owed to her. Like we fucking owed it to her. Like she should be granted it. Like she should be grandfathered in. She didn't work for the vote. She didn't come across and make us feel like she earned it or we believed in her. It was like they just thought Trump was so weak, and she came in like the Democratic Party owed it to them, to the Clinton, to give it to her. And that wasn't the case. And so she lost because the enthusiasm, because the belief wasn't there. If Obama could have ran a third, I promise you, Obama could have ran a third time, he'd have won. He'd have beat Trump.
Bro, landslide.
Yeah. But her email, her emails, like,
I didn't care about that shit.
Man, listen, that was Biden's fault. If Biden would have fucking ran,
it's because of them with her emails. We're like, oh, you fuckers wrote these emails all the way, and here we got the text message. We didn't even see her emails, but we see these goddamn text messages. It's right here. It's right fucking here. And them motherfuckers all quiet, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Pete said they wasn't confident. They wasn't confidential. They wasn't top secret. Pete said it. Of course, the fucking dumbass gonna say that. He don't want to be in trouble. He's a fucking moron. He's a
either he's gonna say that because he doesn't want to be in trouble, or he's saying that because he honestly did not know. Because
he was a dumbass.
So listen, if Biden would have ran the first fucking time, instead of involving himself with his children's politics, and I understand it has to be rough losing a child, you know what I'm saying? But if he would have just fucking ran that first time, Trump ass would have never became the president. Never, ever. And he could have did his 2 terms and went out in a blaze of glory.
Yep. But you said earlier, Jamar, people were like, I'm not voting for her. I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting. Okay. And vote protesting is what has gotten us in the situation we are in today.
That is true. So is
39% of registered voters, 39% of registered voters did not vote.
Right. So
39%.
Is that weak messaging on the Democratic Party?
Yes. So
as a whole, all 3 sides, there's probably more 4 or 5 split groups in there, but
I think what really hurt the Democratic Party this last time was they waited so long to get him to step out of the race so she could step in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that hurt her. And I honestly
they can win.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they thought that they could win. And so I thought she was a sacrificial lamb. I feel that they understood. Don't get me wrong. Everything that I'm not a Biden fan, and I would never vote for him again.
You can't.
I know, but he didn't do a fucked up job. But it wasn't him, it was his handlers. And we all understand that. The handlers and the people around who was really running the government, the people you appoint in position that know what the fuck they doing to keep it afloat. I believe, my personal belief is that 2 things happened. They didn't think they could win, and they was okay with the fact of thinking that they really couldn't win, the Democratic Party as a whole. And they seen this economy eventually taking a turn. I felt that they kept putting the economy on crutches as long as they could, but knew that eventually the reality was going to happen. Eventually, we be smart enough to realize there's no way in the fucking world Tesla stock should be more than GM or Ford or Chrysler stocks. Elon Musk knew that. Hence why he attached himself to who he attached himself. Because everybody kept saying, if you really pay attention to stocks, it was like, yo, this is overinflation of Tesla stocks. It should not, no shape, form, or fashion, be worth what it is. You've seen Teslas on the road, but you haven't seen that many Teslas on the road.
Right.
And you're starting to see the other vehicles on the road as much as you started seeing Teslas on the road. The other smart startup companies, but they don't get the evaluation that they does. This Starlink survives and gets evaluated off of the work that they get, but all their funding is majority from government. Talk about
Subsidies,
wasteful
yeah.
fucking government spending. Starlink. And the other company he has, I can't think of the name of it. Like, yo, Elon is a welfare baby. Even Tesla gets a whole shit ton of government funding and subsidies.
Why do you think he's going in and cleaning out agencies? Because he wants to go in and they want to go in and privatize those agencies so he can set himself up for those private contracts.
So look, bro, he didn't have to bid in it. They didn't put it out for bid. They didn't do nothing else. They just canceled the new contract Verizon just did with the FAA. They just canceled it. They didn't put it up for bid for fair competition. None of that shit. They just put it up. They didn't even put it up. They just sat there, awarded it to Elon's company, Starlink. Yeah. It just awarded it. Like, bro, like you, I'm getting frustrated.
Well, and I'm hearing that he wants the NOAA satellites too now. Have you heard this? You know, the National or Oceanic Atmospheric Agency or whatever that does all the storm predictions. Yeah. You know, he wants in that now too because he hasn't done enough destruction apparently. So, bro,
he's the second greatest grifter of all time. Bro, you people so dumb that think he invented Tesla. He didn't invent Tesla. He came in and bought into Tesla and then kicked and then went behind the two guys, well, 3 guys. I think it's 3 guys in total, but went behind one of them, especially one of the smartest guys in that group, and got him kicked out. And then sat there and bullied the other one to take over Tesla. He didn't create it. He didn't create the technology. No, he's not no fucking genius scientist. He's a marketer like Donald Trump. He's a salesman like Donald Trump.
He's a rich guy who's got too much money, doesn't know what to do with it. I mean, Tesla, SpaceX, he's not the brains behind any of those. Twitter, X now. Look at where X, how profitable that was when he bought Twitter. And now look at it. It's a toxic dump, literally.
What NJ say? Go ahead and read that. Sonya.
Are any of you watching the falling space junk? No.
From his rockets exploding.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, he sent another one. And it just recent, I think about a day or 2 ago, and it exploded.
Darn.
Bro, what do we need SpaceX for if we got, I know you want to create competition, right? But if NASA is ours as the American people, I think most of us can agree like, yo, just get NASA right. Right?
Right. But NASA, in my opinion, NASA is limited in funding. So that was the good thing where Blue Origin, which is Bezos' company,
Virgin,
and SpaceX came in because they had the money to put into, because NASA relies on all government funding essentially. So I wasn't opposed to it at first, but now I'm like,
okay. So here's another thing people don't understand. When they raised the budget for DoD, it's not giving our troops more money. It's giving private contracting companies more money. It's giving Boeing, it's giving Berkshire Hathaway, it's giving Blackwater, it's giving the not Rand company, but it's another thing like that. But it's giving all those companies,
private sector
companies, more money. Here's what people don't realize. If you go and look, I love when everybody got so pissed off about all the equipment we left in Afghanistan, but nobody paid attention to all the contracts that were paid out for work to be done in Afghanistan. So all these private contractors, and I guarantee you 95% of them are these companies supported and put money into the Trump campaign. Right. And they were paid. There was companies that was paid like billions of dollars to build a hospital. They never built it.
Right.
To build a highway, they never built it. To do an airport, they never built it. It was so much.
Aren't these companies held to the same standards that other private companies are? If you don't build something that you are under contract to build, then you have defaulted on that contract. Why isn't that money being returned to the government?
Because and none of them had to repay. When you watch the whole breakdown of Afghanistan and the money spent since they made that fuss, because they didn't hold them accountable. Bro, they sat there and look again, Afghanistan. How do we catch this dude from stealing from the government millions of dollars And then he goes and stops his company, changes the name of his company to another name, and then picks up the contract to fly in and fly those people out of Afghanistan. You know who I'm talking about? It was a Blackwater, and they changed their name to something else or something like that. That guy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they had a lot of shit happening. Yeah. I don't remember all the details about it. It feels like it was forever ago after everything that's happening
that's
now.
what we talk about. They keep overfeeding us,
Yeah.
feeding you with information. So you can't focus on one thing. The prosecutor push
Right.
the agenda on one thing. So it's all good. But let's jump into, before we end this pod, because we're working on an hour and a half. Reggie, did you want to touch on some of her background and her beliefs, or did y'all want to save that for another pod where we can focus on nothing but that?
I mean, yeah, she can touch on it if you want to. Go ahead.
I'm okay with whatever. I mean, what do you want to know? Like,
Reggie loves this shit, bro.
So explain your God and what
So
your beliefs are.
I am not monotheistic. Okay.
Okay.
So there's several deities that I work with. Altars, things like that. We do offerings. My big one is Hades and Hecate. So, and they're just like any other gods. They like certain things. They don't like certain things. You just treat them like, they're gods, but at least these gods, I feel like they're honest about who they are, right? They're not here to save us. They're not here to threaten to burn us in like a fire, right?
Exactly.
So they're more walking beside us instead of hovering over us. That's how I feel about it. We're walking hand in hand and not being peered down on, from the heavens, like, I'm going to smite you if you don't do what I tell you to do. If these gods, if you don't do what they want you to do, they're like, cool, I'm out. I'm going to bounce because I'm going to find someone else that's going to do what I want them to do. They're not going to punish you. They're just, yeah.
Is this a family practice or?
No, right now it's just me. My husband is, I don't know if he still considers himself Catholic, but he grew up and was raised Catholic. But I found that his family is probably the most accepting, if that's weird to say, of the things that we do and the things that we have in our house, and especially the shop. Because when you go in there, you're going to see, spell work stuff. You're going to see deity statues. You're going to see smoke cleansing items, references, things like that of a lot of different religions.
I need some more sage off you. I got to get some more sage. I got to pay for the first sage.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. But his
brother.
mom, was so excited. She right away started reading about stuff and wanted to learn about stuff. I had gotten some tattoos, and she right away, she started looking it up and seeing what it meant and why it was important and why I inked that on my skin permanently. They were very open and very accepting when I finally stepped out, into the public and very public with the store. She'd want to come up and, can I help you? Can I vacuum the floor? Can I, what can I do for you? And you don't normally get that. We're inside of a shopping mall, and so we have the normal typical mall walkers, and they're old, they're all gray haired. And when we first opened, we would get a lot of people complaining about that smell, well, that's the incense, it's very strong. you're gonna smell it. It's not gonna be any different than Bath and Body Works or, the perfume aisle at Macy's or whatever. You're gonna smell it. That's just the way it is. And then we get the random person that comes in and, oh, you're a witch and you do sacrifices, and it's like, no, I've never once sacrificed an animal or a human. But I'm pretty certain the religion that you practice, you've done a human sacrifice, of an innocent. I've never done that. Shuts them up pretty quick when they realize that, their religion is pretty much celebrating blood magic.
Drinking blood.
Yes, eating the flesh, drinking the blood, wearing that crucifix on their neck.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a torture device.
Mhm.
That was meant to torture and kill.
Mhm.
But they proudly wear it. I mean, I wear, a pentacle. It's not a pentagram. It's a pentacle. Pentagram is upside down. 5 points. You have earth, air, water. What am I missing? Fire. And then the 5th point is the ether, the spirit, and encased in a circle, because we have to all work together, right? You're all one unit. And it's a protection thing. It's no different than anything else.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I definitely would love to have you on my show. If you want to come on Sunday,
Sure.
you're more than welcome.
Sure.
Sonya, we gotta help. Me and Reggie, it's our mission now. We're gonna help you get your own show, because you got a lot of helpful information. So
Well,
Yes, I'll teach you everything I know.
it's funny that you say that, because actually a friend and I have been talking about starting a podcast and doing it. We're just sitting and talking about things like your set, and focus on, what's going on in the world. How do we get here? How do we get out of it?
Yes,
That kind of thing.
me and Reggie can help y'all.
That would be awesome.
So we got y'all, and I look forward to it, because you have y'all. It's some dope information, dope conversations. You have dope takes. Listen, what you were talking about. Listen, this, if it wasn't so late, if we'd have started with this, Reggie would be even more like, because this is what this dude like, and I'm the same way. I love learning.
Yeah.
It helps me. It helps me learn discernment. It gives me patience. It helps make me be like, how can I want a solution for things if I don't understand where the other side is coming from?
Yeah.
I can't understand why they have these concerns or
Yeah.
why they feel this way.
Yeah.
And so,
learning about other people and other people's cultures and religions helps with tolerance, right?
yes.
Helps us accept our neighbor who might be different from us.
The sad part about it is, adding on to what you said, because you said something that's dope. I think one of the biggest struggles, and I know for a fact we've gotten to a certain point, but that used to be the biggest complaint for Black people in America, was that people didn't know our struggle. Maybe didn't care, but still didn't know.
Right.
And going through life and experiencing and learning has made me learn that. Like, yo, I need to understand where people come from.
Right.
I need to understand. Like, if I'm just selfish and only care about the Black experience, I wouldn't understand that the Hispanics, the Mexicans, go through their own trauma in this country.
Right.
It may not be my trauma, but they have their own trauma. Learning that at some point in time, the Irish went through their struggle, the Polish went through their fucking struggles, the Italians went through their struggles coming into this country, the Jewish have their own struggles too. And so learning that and having respect for that and learning to understand that.
It puts us all on a level playing field.
Yes.
Seeing that, what that person in that culture has struggled just like we have. It may not have happened at the same time in the same way, but a struggle is a struggle. When people die because of famine or because of war or whatever the case may be,
slavery, or because of whatever case, it goes on. And so you're like, yo, like, these people have all been accosted. These people have all been taken from. These people have all been robbed of some civil rights or liberties or freedoms or different things. And okay, I know I said last thing.
Yeah.
I meant to touch on.
I'm going to say one thing though. We have to keep talking about Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine. We have to keep talking about what's happening in Palestine, and we have to keep talking about what's happening in Sudan.
In South Africa.
And Congo.
In Congo, yes.
For sure.
And those in those things, Sudan and Congo, they have happening forever, right? Forever. That conflict, it feels like it has never ended, and we don't hear about it.
Yeah, we got to get her on some more stuff. We got to get her on some more stuff, Reggie.
We have to keep it in front of people. It's the only way things are going to end and things are going to change.
So
it's all because of our phones.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So Reggie, you got anything you want to advertise, point out? Sonya, we got to get you on Reggie's pod, man. Even just for the simple fact of joining in on other, he'd love to probably have you on when he's learning about he himself is learning about other religions, faiths, or conversations on this stuff like that. I think you
absolutely.
Joy, I think you're Sundays at what time, Reggie?
Usually I go on between 11 and about 12:30, depending on what I have going on.
Sundays.
Yes, like around church time. Again, it's Faith, Lies, and Confusion. This Sunday, we can have the show about your religion. You can, I'll ask you questions and pull up some fact sheets and have you explain it.
Sure. Yeah, let me see. My usually work on Sundays. We're usually open noon to 5, but I can see if I can get someone to cover for me, or come that little bit or whatever.
Oh, you can find a time. You can find a time.
We can work it out.
Okay. Do you do is yours live, or do you go through back and edit yours?
Oh, I do it live.
Live, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you just let me know.
But Sonya, what we're also saying is that you don't have to do yours live. You find
you can do whatever you want.
That business behind the thing. We'll discuss it later on. But we'll work on that and set it up and stuff like that. And I would love for Reggie to be the point. I mean, I'm there for you. This is our thing, but I want you to feel it come in like when you mess with us. It's your show. Listen, I saw this thing when I started with Reggie. I was like, and I fought Reggie. Tell you, I fought with him a long time to get him to start potting.
Yeah, I ain't want to do it. I'm not doing that shit. I'm like, nah, man, I got better shit to do. Like, now I'm cool.
Long time,
a couple years.
Mm-hmm. And then once he got in it, he got addicted and hooked. But he got addicted and hooked in his way. He made it his own. And I've never hit Reggie up like, yo, what you doing is wrong, or you're not doing it right, or you're not this. You need to change this, do this. That's not how we operate. We're here to support. We are just offering a platform.
Yeah.
It's already set up, that's already paid for, and giving you freedom and control to do your stuff how you want to do your stuff. Say what you want to say, have the conversations you want to have. Listen, my brother is a deacon in the church. He's part owner of it. He's never hit Reggie up like, yo, you don't need to be having these conversations. Has he? Has D80 ever? Y'all had back and forth on topics, but never him be like, yo, Reggie, I don't want you, whatever the case. Like, that's not how we operate. That's not how we roll. I would never allow my brother to do so. I would never allow myself or Reggie, like, yo, do you. That's what we want. It's like, because I don't want to say, not the new PBS, or I don't want to say PBS, but just if we could think of a channel that was like information, different NPR, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, offering with the podcasting world is almost like an NPR type setup. Like, come on with if somebody comes on here who's Republican, that's like super Trumpism, MAGA, I'm not gonna stop them. Right? I'll come on every now and then debate with you, whatever case and stuff like that. But do your thing. Like, I want you to be you. I want you to express yourself. Talk about what you want to talk about.
Education. I mean, it's tolerance and learning, and it benefits everybody. That's how we grow and change and become a better society.
Wait till you meet NJ in real life.
You got to meet NJ.
Yes, it's funny. She's smart as fuck.
I video chatted. I haven't met her in real life, but I video chatted with NJ. NJ is dope. You'll like NJ. And NJ is another one that you'll probably have to go on.
Yeah, she's my co-host of my show. You'll like her. You'll meet her.
Yeah, you're going to go on something. Bro, I'm telling you, their group is worldwide. The people that they talk to, he's had people who's been from different countries like UK, from France, from in places in Africa.
Mhm.
He's had all these people in his different guests and on here and been a part of their shows and just talking about so many different things.
That's awesome.
And it's
That's
dope.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
I look forward to working with you more, Sonya, because I want to help you. I want to help spread the gift that you're giving and enlighten and educate people.
Yeah. And we need
That's what I get out of
Definitely
it.
me too.
Yeah.
Definitely me too.
absolutely.
So I want to go ahead and thank Sonya Mavis. Sonya, do you want to shout out your store so we can try to get people to come here?
Yeah, so I'm in Defiance in the Northtown Mall. My store is called the Luna Moon Market, and we just welcome all paths. We're all inclusive and safe place. So
Yeah.
come hang out, yeah. And
All
we
right.
and we do. We have a lot of people that come in and just hang out and are in there for hours. And people say over and over, it's just calming, and I like being in here, and they don't ever want to leave,
Right.
and that's cool. You know, we
Dope
close at
vibe.
7, so just be out
Yeah.
by 7. I don't care.
I need some more sage. I gotta cleanse my house. There's so many things I gotta talk to you about. Like I swear I woke up one night and I didn't understand nothing about spirits and demons and stuff. And I woke up and I was in my daughter's room. I don't know why. I slept in my daughter's room. Me and the wife weren't even going at it. I just went to my daughter's room because sometimes the wife likes the room hot. And I'm more of my body is always hot, so I need to be in places cold. And my daughter's room is cold, so I slept in there. And me and the dog are in the bed sleep, and my dog wakes me up growling. I'm like, what the hell? And I get up and I lean up in bed, and I see this shadowy figure at the foot of the bed. And it's like all black, but it's got like long,
drippy.
drippy like fang things or whatever case. And it's like, and I'm looking like, what the fuck? And I'm looking like, I swear to God, I'm like looking like I'm blinking my eyes, start rubbing my eye. I'm like this. I look up because the window was right here, because the bed against the wall. I'm like, look at the light from the window, and I look back, it's there. Then that motherfucker slowly turned his head towards me, and my dog is still growling. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, yo. So like my body, I ain't gonna lie, my body felt frozen because I was afraid. Like I ain't never seen no shit like this in my life.
Right.
And I was like, fuck it. Got up, jumped, and ran out the room, right? And my dog, fucking weak ass dog, she ran with me. Like, right? So we both run out the room. We're like, oh my God. Like, scared. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I researched it like that morning. I fell asleep out in the thing, and then I don't know if you've ever been to it. I live West Toledo, and there's a store right off of Douglas that probably partakes in a lot of different things like sage and dragonness and different things like that. So I went there and I bought some sage, and I saged my whole house, and I slept in that room again and tested out, and I didn't feel that bad energy or whatever in case of stuff like that. But if I go way too long without that, you can feel
it creeping back.
It's almost, I don't know, Reggie, if you ever felt this, or son, you haven't. I've been asleep and woke up and felt like my body get chills, like there's something there, and it's like almost like you're trying to force yourself to get up, and something is holding you down so you can't get up, and it's like a struggle within that. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is that? So I try to sage my house every 2 to 3 months.
Even do it more than that. You know, I mean, we're at the store, we do it several times a week. Just because of the energy that's coming in.
I got you. Yeah.
Constantly. So
different energy keep coming in. People bring in spirits and everything attached.
Yeah. So do it once a month. Just do it the first Saturday of every month, or just pick a day that works for you, and just get on that schedule. I mean, it's no different than house cleaning, right?
Yeah, that's a form of house cleaning. It's a spiritual level of house cleaning.
Yep. So just get on a regular schedule.
I smoke green.
Huh?
I smoke green.
Yo, it's a form of house cleaning. At least and I'm not trying to convince you to do it, but it worked. I didn't feel that presence until I went a long period of time without, and I felt negative vibes or energy within my household. And even my wife, who grew up Catholic, but whatever case, like she's like, yo, you probably need to go sage.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
drop some holy water in your eye. And your
yeah. But yo, Sonya, Sonya, shout out your partner. Shout out anybody you want to shout out.
My husband, I can't do any of this without him.
Shout out to my boy.
And I told him, the other day, and I tell a lot of people this, he's never heard me tell people this, but he's like the guy standing there holding the balloon, right? And I'm the balloon. He lets me fly around and float and do whatever I need to do to be happy and do here. And he keeps me grounded, and he brings me back in when I need to come back in. He's 20 years together, married. I couldn't
shout out
do
to
any.
y'all kids. Shout out to y'all kids. Y'all got some amazing kids. Shout out to them.
Yep. I got 2 boys. One's out of school but in college, so he's almost done. Hopefully he can get a job. And then I got my youngest he's a junior in high school, and he's in a culinary program, so he loves to cook and bake, and that's what he wants to do. So we're just gonna be like cook it all.
Yo, shout out the Democratic program with the youth you work with the younger.
So the official name of our group is Defiance Emerging and Engaging Dems. So we kind of shorten it to DEEDS. We're doing DEEDS, right? And it's really just a bunch of us kids. I'm not a kid, but I feel like I'm a kid at heart sometimes. My body says, whoa, slow down. But my mind is like, you can do this. And we just want to, empower those young voices, because they are our future, right? They're the ones that's going to be holding these offices. There's the ones that's going to be running this country. And we have to think about them, right? So all the old people right now that are holding these legislative offices, they're not thinking about the future, right? They're thinking about their bottom line. They're thinking about their wallet, their pocket, and that money that's coming in, and we have to change it. So this group, like I said, we're very new, just formed in February. So new. Yesterday we helped put on an immigration panel in our county. And so we had a circuit judge come be the moderator, and we had 4 wonderful panelists that are very familiar with the immigration process. So we had the Lucas County Sheriff Michael Navarre was there. We had 2 attorneys, and then we had a farm labor union activist, the leader of that, Baldemir Velasquez, there. And we had a great turnout, and there was a lot of information about the immigration process and what's going on, what we can do to help our neighbors, what we can do to step in if we see something happening with ICE, the legal part of it, what's required. If someone shows up and they are saying, I'm looking for this person, first of all, do they have a warrant? And is that warrant signed by a judge? If it's not signed by a judge, it's not valid.
You can have a warrant all you want. You ain't got to sign by a judge. Bro, that's basic understanding of your rights. Every American, not American, but
warrant
American
cannot be a blank warrant. It has to have a person's name on it, a specific person. It cannot be a blank warrant, and it has to be a judge's signature. If they don't have that, you tell them to kick rocks, because they can't do shit.
Reggie, shout out your podcast. Shout out AAA Sports will be back next Wednesday, season 4. We'll be back in live. But shout out your podcast, Reggie, and anything else you got going on.
Then we're gonna I don't know what time we're gonna do it this weekend. I mean, on Sunday, but it's Faith Lies and Confusion. Me and NJ gonna be on there. Sonya is gonna be our guest. Can't wait to have the show.
Sonya, bring your people with you. He love it.
Okay, I'll see if I can round them up.
All right.
More than me.
Yo, this is a AAA production brought to you by Truth Entertainment Films. I am Jay Harris, aka Black B. That is Godless Reggie, the one and only, and that is Miss Sonya, who is also a representative of these. I thank y'all for tuning in, listening, leaving your comments, and shout out to NJ. We also love and appreciate. We got to get NJ. We got to get NJ back on the pod.
You have me dying laughing.
Yeah, she did. Yo, we appreciate all input, info. Shout out to Visually Nice with a dope ass comment. And Visually Nice is also a Republican who drives trucks, and they voted for Trump because they just couldn't find themselves voting for Kamala. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But regardless of that, I ain't gonna hate on that brother, or I ain't gonna hate on that person. The choices are your choices, and I try to tend to respect people as long as they made intelligent choices. So I'm gonna try to respect people as long as they made choices. So, and for intelligent reasons, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Ow.
For having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.